Hey friends, welcome to the 10 Laws Podcast with East Forest. I am said East Forest. Thanks for joining us again. Thank you to all of you who are subscribers and who have reviewed the podcast. I appreciate that so much. I want to give a particular shout out to Greg Collar for giving a written review there. Thanks for saying such nice things about how you're enjoying the show, and thanks for giving those written reviews also to Gwayan Mudra. So thank you. You can do that anytime to give a 5-star review or a written review on Apple Podcasts, and we appreciate it. And thanks for sharing the show on social media and with your friends. This week, I have a conversation with Lorin Roche. And Lorin was on the podcast way back. I believe it was episode 11. So he's OG. And he is an amazing man. He's also the partner of Camille Maureen, who is just on the show again for the second time. And the two of them have a meditation training that she spoke about. And if you want to go to Lorin's site, it's Lorin, Lorin Roche, ROCHE.com. I believe it might have kicked off, but it's pretty neat if you want to dive into that stuff. So check it out. Let them know that we sent you. But Lorin is someone that I met a while ago when I was at 1440 Multiversity, doing some stuff there with Radha and a program she was doing, and I met him in the dining hall, and we did the first podcast right there in the dining hall, and we kind of became friends, and then would see each other. I saw him at Sand and saw them at some other spots, out when we used to go out in the world, if you remember that. And he's always been a bit of a trickster energy, and I've enjoyed him very much. And he has a very unique approach on meditation that I think you'll find quite liberating and interesting, and it's sort of like the punk rock of meditation for me, and I dig it. So I think you're going to enjoy this too. Before we get into that, I just want to give you a quick update that we have some more sort of East Forest ceremony live dates that we're exploring doing in a few different markets around the country, and we're announcing that on this Wednesday, which would be, I believe, tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this. And those would be ideally in the spring, and it's through that light ticketing system, LYTE, that we had used that we're using for the Salt Lake City event. So you kind of like pledge your interest to do a show in one of these markets, whether it's in like Florida or Texas or so forth, and that helps us know if we have enough people who are interested in us actually producing it. So check that out, eastforest.org/tour for more information about those dates. And otherwise, I am releasing also this Friday on the 29th of January, 2021, a new song. It's a single of Leonard Cohen's classic song Hallelujah that I recorded. So that'll be out wherever you listen to music, and the high res of that is exclusive. If you're one of those folks who appreciates 24-bit audio like myself, you can get that over at eastforest.org. Hit the music tab, and I'll take you over to the Bandcamp where you have all sorts of fun options. And we're going to get the possible album start to roll out, I hope in February, just working out a few things on the back end. And lots of amazing collaborations that I'm excited to tell you about as they start to roll out, that I've really enjoyed. Just been making a lot of music, and I can't wait to continue sharing that with you. And I also want to say thanks for you who have been showing up on the Instagram Lives I've been doing Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern, doing what I call the A&Q, commonly known as a Q&A, or an AMA. It's an alphabet soup, but essentially it's a fun time for you guys to post some questions, and I come up with some answers, or more likely you guys have the answers and I have the questions. But it's been fun. I'll keep doing that for a bit. And we're discussing ways to get that East Forest Council moving forward in a sustainable manner. And so we'll have more on that soon. That's what's been going on our end. We've been doing some skiing, some Nordic skiing, Radha and I'm enjoying whatever sunshine comes out here in the winter, doing lots of music, and mostly just kind of rooting down and trying to make plans into 2021 like a lot of us. And it's a lot like the second half of 2020 where we're like, how do you make plans anymore? It's just sort of everything rolls a month at a time. But we're trying. We're doing our best to see what happens. So we'll keep doing that. But let's dive into this conversation. I know you're going to enjoy it with our dear friend, Lorin Roche.
We're built by nature to solve problems using technology. Meditation is a form of it's a form of technology to access our inner resources. Now, meditation, the skill of tuning into ourselves, it's built in and completely natural. And the techniques of meditation are beautiful, but like phones, they have a negative side effect. Whereas people who get really good at meditation often lose track of their own natural doorways into meditation. For example, music is one of the greatest doorways into meditation ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that musicians are generally often great meditators.
Yeah, what does meditation mean to you? Because that's a really interesting idea to say that people who are, quote, great meditators, in a sense, lose their doorways to themselves, more maybe those natural doorways. Why? Or what is it how do we, maybe some people are wondering in their mind, like, what does it actually mean to be meditating technically?
Okay. So let's say there's Buddha said one day, monks, I've given you 84,000 different doorways, Dharma doors. And it's like that. So there's thousands and thousands of styles of meditation. The kind that I love primarily is that you will sit or stand or lie down and you let yourself love what you love. So you allow your attention to be called to something you love so much that there's that urge to join with it, even to merge with it. Now we feel that with music. Think about music that you love so much. It's like, oh, I'm going to sit down or I'm going to stand and dance with it. That urge to become one with the music.
I feel you. Yeah.
That is the urge of meditation. And that same urge, you can follow it to join in with your breathing. I'm going to be with my breathing and I'm going to feel it and listen to it and be with the movement of it in the same way that I am with music. With mantras, is that word tra again. With mantras, we will listen to an internal sound in the same way that we listen to music. It's like, carry me away.
So the people who are good meditators, you're saying that in a sense like there's something pejorative about that? Or that's become like one doorway as opposed to them missing out on the other 83,999?
Well, okay. Meditation teachers have occupational hazards. So I'll just talk about myself first. So let's say when I started doing formal meditation in 1968, so immediately, like my morning meditation for 20 minutes, like it was kind of like cleaning the windshield and sweeping the floor. Like there's chores. A lot of meditation feels like doing the dishes, cleaning the garage, or changing the oil in the car, filling it up with gas. There's a chore-like vibration.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Or like musicians sit around and they tune up their instruments. Long time, check the sound levels. Musicians do sound check for hours. So meditating is like doing a sound check. You're doing these chores. And it's also like a tuning fork. Like when I meditate, a lot of times I'm feeling the tuning fork of my soul. Like the current, I'm feeling the current of truth of my own life force.
Yes.
and then I'm feeling all the ways in which I'm out of tune with it. So it's really much like a musician going boom, 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 tuning. I can feel, oh my God, when I said that thing yesterday, I was a little out of tune with myself, or I didn't respond to that person fully. I didn't go, oh my God, what you did is so great. I didn't either give all that I have to give or receive what's being offered. So I'll feel the way I'm out of balance. So that's what meditation feels like. Meditation is tuning in to your own soul essence and bathing in it and letting the genius of your own life force rebuild you and retune you, like every cell of your body, so that you're a living manifestation of what you came here on earth to be, that you're fully embodying your purpose. So when I started meditating, it was like, boom, it was the night and day. It was like, this is, oh my God. Because suddenly I was able to walk around in the world and function in a cosmically relaxed way. Like I was more relaxed all day long, every day, as if I just came back from a month vacation in paradise where I was surfing all day. I was able to, I was in college, so I was able to do calculus, write essays, give talks.
Well, can I ask you, is there a
Yeah,
way that you might think you could be entering into meditation that it's doing the opposite? It's not helping, or is there a way that you would
absolutely.
not want to approach it?
Absolutely. Any control, whatever you resist, like if you resist feeling sexuality, if you resist thinking about your to-do list, if you resist anger, if you judge yourself in any way, like I shouldn't think so much, I shouldn't feel so much, I shouldn't be restless. If you have any internal judgments and you don't unlearn those, meditation can be harmful. I think I think in general, meditation is a mildly harmful activity. The way that people are practicing it,
That's a pretty
and
big thing to say. So, in a sense, like when you say any resistance, I mean, most people would think of their meditation as noticing resistance and letting go of it over and over again. But I hear you maybe differentiating what that is.
the language of meditation is quite toxic.
Such as what? Like what language?
Well, meditation, the word, if meditation was a plate of food or a buffet at a restaurant,
Yeah.
it's like they sprayed a little bit too much Windex and bleach. It's been sprayed with Windex and bleach and soap, like cleansing. So it's not. And if you eat a little bit too much soap or just a little bit too much Windex, it'll damage your
I
insides.
think it'll kill you if you have a lot of Windex. Yeah.
So for thousands of years, these geniuses who have created most of the meditation literature were these people called renunciates. They took vows of celibacy, poverty, and obedience. And what they did was they would be born somebody, like in India or Bhutan or Nepal or China or Japan. They'd be born somewhere and have a natural personality and a name. And they would go through this process of becoming a monk or perhaps a nun. So they would shave their head, maybe, and go through a ritual of dying to their old self, just trying to destroy their ego. Ego just means the sense of identity. And then imprint on a new self. And so they would go through a death process, trying to kill off all their natural instincts, kill off your sexual desire, kill your desire to have a home, kill any arrogance or pride or ego, kill your desire to have money, So it's a violent process. But for people who were meant to be monks and nuns, it's beautiful.
And
It's a process.
this is how
It's a
they
process.
create their great methods. You're saying for
Yeah.
meditation.
And a lot of my teachers were monks or renouncers, we could say. So they have been the custodians of the language for thousands of years and the teachings.
Mm-hmm.
So when modern day people are studying meditation, there's just a vibe. There's a sense that maybe that the monks are better meditators. And so they use words like detachment. There's a suspicious attitude towards thoughts. And monks all over the world, there's toxic things being taught to people who aren't monks, like the idea of a monkey mind. If your mind is busy, you have a monkey mind. Well, this is not true. I just spent the last 52 years listening in detail to what people think about in meditation. I started doing this in 1968 as part of scientific research. And people who live in the world and have homes and jobs, they don't have monkey minds. They have to-do lists. And the idea that people who pay the bills have monkey minds is toxic and insulting and wrong. So almost everybody I know who meditates has internalized some self-hatred that comes from the monastic tradition. So what happens is the hatred that monks, the scorn that they have for householders, for people who live in the world, joins up with any internal shame you have. And then that combination of external, internal hatred becomes your meditation guide.
Oh man!
Whereas in reality, when you think a thought, it's a miracle that we can think. A human being can sit around and imagine something. What if we put a door over there? What if we moved the furniture? What if I wrote a song? Oh, I have the song in my head. What if I wrote it down? Human can sit around and the flow of thought is genius. And if you accept that and you totally welcome all thoughts, then you fall through to sort of a fundamental level of your being where you're the acoustic space that the notes are flowing through.
Let me interject a question. This is an interesting thought. So I've found, or maybe this has just been my own prejudice, but when I'm in meditative states, including music, that I find that the moments where I'm focusing on one thing, like my breath, like especially in psychedelic states, that usually seems to be the doorway to this massive expansion of feeling connected and wow, everything else and my connection to it. And also the doorway into like being in a flow state with music. It's probably that I am thinking, I'm just not realizing it or thinking about the thinking in a sense. I'm letting it go. And I would say we're always thinking in a way. It's just like my perception of it.
It's the idea that thoughts should not come throws people off balance. So, for example,
yes,
say someone sits to meditate and they meditate for 30 seconds and they jump up and start dancing. In the stereotypical model, we would think they failed to meditate. But if you think of meditation as tuning into your own life force, that's a successful meditation. In other words, the person sat down to meditate, felt their breathing for 30 seconds, and said, oh my God, I want to dance. See, that's the way meditation actually is when you tune into your own life force, then it'll give you ideas on what to do next.
But as you were saying before, that we've lost our ability because we're getting bits of information all the time. So in some ways, isn't some element of it in there about essentially stopping or getting off the treadmill, turning the antenna off or down the information stream?
Yes, but then there's how do you do it and the technology to do it. Now, if you look at human behavior, like everybody from kids to old people have cell phones. Just all ages. Just go
around the
shopping
world.
mall, restaurant around the world.
Yeah.
And there's a couple billion cell phones in the world. And almost everybody in the world, they could be in the middle of a crowded restaurant or a shopping mall or a store or at a party with hundreds of people standing around talking, da 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 da. And they'll feel a little ding or vibration in their pocket. They'll pull out their phone, and in less than a second, their attention has gone from the wide field of here I'm at a party or I'm in a city, and they'll zoom in on a little 2 or 3 inch wide screen, read little teeny letters, what are a quarter inch high, and give their total attention to like this little snippet of language. And yet none of those 2 or 3 billion people would ever say, like in a restaurant or coffee shop or store, everyone shut up and stop moving, hold still. I have to read this little teeny message. No one does that because human beings are geniuses at concentration. We've all got that. If there's something that we're interested in, boom, we're right there.
So the key is to be interested in a way, to have the love of it, or go into
to be interested.
The joy. Yeah.
But if you have even a little bit of real training in meditation, like 15 minutes, it's the same with meditation. You could sit in the middle of a busy place and just cheerfully meditate. Like you don't care if there's 100 or 100,000 people chattering away around you. Meditation is the same as reading a little teeny text message. You're just listening to a little teeny signal coming from inside you. In a way, it's simpler than reading your phone. And yet, the whole idea of meditation it's been polluted with this whiny attitude that you shouldn't hear sound and you shouldn't have thoughts. It's because the kind who are monks and nuns sort of hate the world. That's why they're monks and nuns. That I'm out of here. They don't want anything to do with they don't want to bond to another person. They don't want to bond. The whole language is anti-bonding. And when you live in a religious order, you don't do what you want. It's called you follow orders. So this attitude of hatred of real life has seeped in. And so whenever people think about meditation, they tend to think of it with these creepy assumptions. So
creepy.
There it is, creepy. When the danger of meditation is that you're letting this creepy person's little dinky attitudes of what your meditation should be, you're letting it into your head. And it's often a bad marriage. Because, like, let's say mantras are wonderful tools to use in meditation. They're wonderful. There's these sounds. They could be Sanskrit. There's sounds like om and hum and simple vowel. Take any vowel sound and add to it, and kind of you have a mantra. But you can use English words. So mantras are wonderful tools. But to get a mantra from somebody, you often wind up like they think that they own you because they gave you a mantra. They think that they own you. And meditation groups tend to become power. They get to go insane with power and wealth So I love mantras so much that I devoted much of the late 60s and early 70s to studying what mantras work for different kinds of people. And then one day, like maybe around 75, I thought, well, why don't, instead of giving the person the mantra, like I think I know what their mantra would be, why don't I ask them? So the sessions takes longer. So I'd just say, well, think of the vowel sounds. What do you love? And a person have them listen to the vowels and kind of hum them and feel them. E, ah, oh. Okay, what vowel sounds sound the best to you right now? And give them a half an hour to just play around and explore. And then, okay, what combo would you use? And let them make up their own mantra. So it takes a little longer
That's
than
nice.
if I just
Yeah.
give them one, but it comes from inside them. So I've actually found that was 45 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I've been doing that for a while. And I think it works better. Now, we started out talking about the dangers of meditation. There's all these beautiful techniques, but what can happen, and it happens to meditation teachers and people who consider themselves really disciplined, is that they lose track of their own natural doorways.
Because they're kind of stuck on focusing on one particular pathway or
Yeah.
doorway.
Yeah. And we might need a dozen different meditation techniques.
It sounds like in sort of an anti-renunciate modern approach, saying like many things are meditation, there are many doorways, and follow your bliss in a way. Does that sound right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So when you meditate in the morning, say you want to build your meditation practice, what do I need? You ask yourself, what do I need? And then you want to have some familiarity with, say, breathing practices, moving practices, and some approach to mantra, whether a Sanskrit word, or you can actually just make up, like, what's a quality I'd love to be filled with right now? Well, peace, harmony, courage. Just make up 3 words representing qualities that you love and breathe with them. So that approach, informal as it seems, can be more effective than like the most effective, most esoteric secret to Tibetan technique or any other. For the last more than half a century, I've just been surrounded by meditation fanatics. And a few people just really thrive, like they're funny, lively, like you'd want someone who's been meditating for half a century. And most people seem kind of like lost souls, like they've gone off in some weird closet.
They're in
They just
some weird
spent,
meditation cloud off on the side.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Meditators don't act like meditators. We tend to get kidnapped. So, like with me, say in the 60s, I discovered meditation. I was just thriving immediately. So it's revolutionary to meditate for 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes before dinner. Just life changing, having access to total relaxation, and everything about me worked better. Well, then when I became a meditation teacher, that continued, but slowly, like 21, 22, 23, the specialization of the meditation I was doing, I started to give up things that were my own spontaneous inventions. And I was around a group. We were all in our 20s mostly. And so I slowly would just gave up my own spontaneous things. And then I had to rediscover them.
Yeah. And
I got kidnapped. I got kidnapped by my own teaching.
so do you feel like those 5 decades of your own practice, have you had to shift it in any way given the last year of being a human and what it's like? Or has it been actually perfect? Like it's the same practice for you?
Well, my practice is so dynamic that if we look at it from like the outside, it might look like I'm doing the same thing. But it's like from the inside, it's more like surfing in a storm. Like I'm surfing or sailing in the weather, the ever changing weather of my inner world. So, in a sense, when I get up in the morning, I'm tuning to the sun inside me, the winds, the ocean, the earth, and it's like I'm learning every day. I learn how to love life all over again. Like that's a challenge to. It's very much like going outside. Going inside for me is very much like going outside. Only everything's a little bit even more intense. The sun is brighter. The waves are bigger. The wind is stronger. And it's a little bit more terrifying. But it's just like being it's kind of like a slow motion hurricane. Yeah.
And is that approach what you would call instinctive meditation? I noticed that you kind
Yeah.
of separated those out.
Yeah. I like that term lately. In 1975, I started calling it integrative meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used that for 15 or 20 years. And then I used pranava, which is a Sanskrit word meaning the hum, the joyous hum of life itself. And
like
then
that.
maybe the last 15 years been using instinctive meditation.
Very cool. And what is that sort of like the process you've been describing? Is that how you approach instinctive meditation as opposed to other forms of meditation? It's just sort of this natural. Well, it's unique to you, I would assume. Like it's from your own. It's springing up from you.
Well, instinctive meditation is classical. It's actually the most ancient forms
Yeah,
of
right.
meditation. It just that the simplicity gets lost. It's like the people in 12-step programs have the saying, keep it simple. And everybody knows that the simplicity of things get lost. Instinctive meditation is just a language system for approaching what meditation has always talked about from the very beginning, thousands of years ago. And where the fundamental impulse of meditation is that we can pay attention. And so when we take a breath and let the universe occur to us, either the outside universe or the inside, we experience wonder, or pure research, I wonder, what's happening here?
Right.
Inquiry, exploration, and our own curiosity. What's going to happen next? The same impulse that has us watching movies. Curiosity, what's going to happen next? And all of the senses in meditation, and what we're using all of our senses, seeing. What am I seeing outside? What am I seeing in my inner world? What am I hearing outside me? What am I hearing in my inner world? What movement am I sensing in the outer world? What movement am I sensing in my inner world? What's nourishing? What feels like food? What's emotional food? And music is nourishing and inspiring. What's nourishing and thrilling? So it's the senses and then wonder, appreciation. And then I'm going to be with that. So in a succinct statement of meditation would be savoring the thrill of aliveness.
Savoring the thrill of aliveness. I like that. I mean, but before we wrap up today, it'd be really fun to sort of like guide us through something, because I'm kind of curious what that's like, and how that differs from
Okay.
traditional, shall we say, meditation.
Yeah. So it's not traditional meditation is only tradition. It's only one tradition out of thousands. What we call
Right.
traditional meditation.
Right.
It would be like calling, I don't know, like Irish counterpointal chanting, plain song chanting to be traditional song, and everything else is not traditional. So, all right, let's do a couple mini meditations.
Great.
So first, take the attitude of welcoming your inner self. Like I welcome all of who I am. The mischief maker. I welcome the rebel in me. I welcome the person that hates meditation. I welcome the lover. I welcome the part of me that thinks I'll never meditate. I'm a lost soul. I welcome my smarts. I welcome the mischief maker. I welcome the part of me that loves to play games or video games or cards. I welcome the part of me that loves music. I welcome the part of me that loves animals, that loves to pet dogs or horses or cats. I welcome the part of me that loves to wander in nature. I welcome the part of me that doesn't want to get out of bed or just want to nest and sleep. I welcome the part of me that loves sex. I welcome the part of me that wonders, what's life all about? What do spiritual masters know? What do I need to know? I welcome my loneliness. I welcome feeling unworthy. I welcome tenderness. So this is the attitude of welcoming, and it opens the door to discovering your own personal meditation practice. And then, having embraced that attention, that kind of attention, let's just do nothing. Let's take the attitude, I'm going to leave myself alone. Let thoughts flow, let feelings flow. You could lie down, you could sit up, you could stand. Just leave yourself alone. Don't impose any rules on the self. Let's explore. Give yourself a chance to discover. Like, what works for me? Out of the 84,000 different practices that Buddha spoke of, what's my practice? And if you touch that thought, even for a few seconds, it's like ringing the doorbell of your inner teacher, your inner guidance systems. And human beings come with an inner guidance system. And the instincts that guide you in meditation are the same instincts that guide you to pick a piece of music to listen to, or create a playlist, or pick a kind of food to eat, or if you're wandering or exploring nature or a city. Well, let's go that way. I feel like going that way. No, let's go this way. Or what movie you want to see. It's the same instincts guiding you in your inner world that guide you like, oh, I want to watch that movie, or even I want to watch it again. I want to pay attention to that character. I want to follow that story. In meditation, you're following your own internal story. And then the next phase is wondering, okay, what quality do I feel like I need? If I sort of listen to myself or feel my bodily sensations or feel my heart, what quality am I craving? Do I want comfort? Do I want excitement? Do I need to feel at home in myself? Or do I need to feel thrilled? Like, let's go on an adventure. Or both. Or contradictory both. So each of those things I've mentioned over the past 5 minutes is a fundamental skill. And if you internalize those skills, you'll be okay in meditation. Because right from the very beginning, you're going to be customizing it to fit your individuality. And those are fundamental skills that all meditators need to touch in with from time to time.
It
When
feels
I
very
interview,
inclusive. Yeah, inclusivity.
you want to include yourself. We want meditation to lead us towards being at home in our bodies, in our hearts, in ourselves, and at home in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's a real feeling of what, oh, that's what love is. It's just this radical acceptance and love and holding it all and inviting it all in. It's wonderful. It's a good feeling. Really good feeling. Well, thank you for including that. I think people will really appreciate having that little dive and discovering their own doorways. It's always great to see a man, and it's like a lot of this is sort of a tune-up too, because I know when you were on the podcast before, it was in the early days, and people can go back and listen to it. It's a different conversation, but I remember us talking about some of these similar ideas of like reminding ourselves that the real tune-up is about how it all can be joyful and all can be meditation, it all can be part of your life, and it's just here, and it's just this acceptance, and that feels good.
Well, yeah, we have instinct inform us about what's good for us. Just like food, we know what delicious food is like.
Yeah.
And over time, we know what's a really healthy, delicious meditation for us. One of the next phases of evolution of teaching meditation is we need to filter out, in some ways, get rid of the ideas that are just for monks. Because I love monks, but it's toxic. It's like Windex and bleach sprayed on the food. I know people who have been meditating for 40 and 50 years, and they still complain against thoughts. They don't get how brilliant the mind is because they've been exposed to this propaganda their whole life of meditation. And the other, now I've been meditating for 52 years, and I'm a pretty good meditator in my own way. But I think that aircraft pilots, athletes, musicians, surfers, sailors, singers, that a lot of the people are better than me in every way. They're better meditators. The people that are at the top of their field in every field, whether it's fishing, sailing, surfing, and those people are way better meditators. Anybody I've ever met, any guru, they're doing their field, whether it's surfing or sailing or skiing or singing. Those people are awesome meditators. Better, like some people did an album of the Radiance Sutras. So I wound up being in a recording studio, this famous studio over on La Brea. It was a famous recording studio where they did Joni Mitchell and Shaka Khan and the Police
Is
recorded.
it
A&M
Ocean
studio.
Way? Oh, A&M. Mm.
A&M, which is then be the Muppet. It's the Muppet people bought it. So they have off days because the famous people will book it for a month.
Yeah.
So we could go over on an empty slot. We could book it for 2 days, but only a few days in advance. So they let us have this world-class studio. And so I would spend 12 hours a day with the audio engineers and musicians. And the audio engineers would sit down in the morning at their control panel and basically not move for 14 hours. I'd feed them.
I understand
But
that.
they had total zen. Total zen. They were tracking all the musicians and their control board. And I was sitting in back of them, meditating and watching them. And what an audio engineer does is a level of zen, I think that's beyond all but a few meditation teachers. I know there's Tibetan monks that do their own practices that way. But this is mastery.
Mm.
And there's something wrong with our thinking about meditation, that we're not appreciating that these world-class singers and dancers and musicians and athletes, they're in a zone way above almost any meditation teacher. They could still benefit from training. But meditation is still a very primitive field where we think that the voice coach is the best singer in the world. Whereas in a real field of athletics or singing, the coach is somebody that loves the process, the sport, whatever it is, and they love the process of coaching.
Yeah.
In meditation land, it's all mixed up. We think that the guru is the real meditator. What we need are coaches who enable other people to shine.
Mm. Well, I feel like you're doing that right now. And so that's what are ways people can dive even deeper into your ways of thought and your work?
Well, if you want to come in through the Sanskrit door, you can read the Radiance Sutras.
Yeah, it's great.
And if you want like a no-nonsense, completely sensible language, read Meditation Made Easy. And if you type lorinroche.com.
We'll have your website here in the show notes,
yeah,
for sure.
Just go to my website, poke around, get on my mailing list if you want. And the physiological benefits of meditation are immense. It's an incredibly beneficial practice, and there's been extraordinary amount of scientific research. But you won't get the benefits unless you actually meditate every day. And you won't want to meditate every day unless you make the practice thrilling and soothing and totally natural.
Thrilling, soothing, and natural. That's perfect.
God, I want to talk with you like every day. Let's talk every day. Dude, call me again soon.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, now it's we have we're time rich, so not a problem there.
And I love you both. It's so good to see you. I'm glad you're thriving out there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to see you guys.
Yeah, and remember, human beings, we're built to adapt to climate change. That's how God tuned human bodies. We're so inventive.
We're very adaptable.
There's very little wrong with the world that can't be solved, or at least approached almost immediately, if human beings band together like they love to do and say, let's solve this.
Yeah, we're inherently cooperative for sure. Yeah.
What's particularly needed is all the 20-somethings and 30-somethings to just jump in and take charge of the world. Like jump in full on. All right, we're here and we're in charge now.
Well, they definitely have a lot of chutzpah, and I feel like they're ready. So I'm excited about younger generations, no doubt. But thanks, Lorin Roche. It's been fun,
dude.
as always.
Over and out. Carry on. Keep the faith, everyone. Rock. Remember, fill your body with rock and roll every day. Fill your body constantly with what you love about music, life, and because there's a war, there's a propaganda war against you that's trying to take over your brain and convince you that we're all doomed.
It's those lizard people, and that's how they... they're trying to eat the brains. Yes.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
You want to get out of here. All right.
Well, I don't want to hold you, but thank you. I'll just close it up.
I'm not going anywhere. There I am.
Thank you so much, Lorin, for joining us on the show again. And go over on his site and see if you want to be a last-minute join if they're still taking people to their meditation training. It sounds like it could be pretty fun, and you learn a lot. This song that you're hearing in the background is called Interval Number 3, and it's from the Karen album that features Keith Sweaty, who was the electronic producer on that record, and we did that several years back. It's a little bit of a different record for me because I mostly did vocals and lyrics on it in addition to him and I doing the music together, and it was a fun process, and it's sort of a different vibe that you can check out. Well, my friends, you got to keep doing what you're doing, and I know we're still in a lot of uncertainty, but let's face it, we always are, right? We think we know what's happening and where we're going and who's in charge, but really it's just sort of this collective drifting, continuing back home through the cosmic abyss of love. There's an agony of love, my friends, and it's beautiful, and you're in it, and I see you. So keep walking your walk. I'll see you next week. Don't take any shit. But if you do, just do it with grace.